Welcome back. Welcome back, everybody. I hope you guys had a wonderful New Year's Eve. I know that you guys are pumped for 2025. I know I am. I know that there's a lot of cool things coming along that we are all excited about. And I know that you guys have already watched the last video that I posted in 2024. But I thought, you know what? We talked about movies. But after I posted that video, I thought, what if we talk about the Game Awards? Now, I'm not going to talk about all of the games that were announced at the Game Awards. I think the Game Awards is fantastic. I mean, oh my god, like, Harrison Ford showed up at the Game Awards. Harrison Ford. Do you know what you have to do to get that man anywhere nowadays? I mean, it's not like a little phone call. It's like, hey, we really need you to elevate this event. And I mean, he did just that, even with little appearance there. Even though that looking at Troy Baker being much taller than him was funny, it was really interesting to see both of them on stage and, talking about, hey, go play the Great Circle. But that's not why we're here. We're here to talk about the announcements that I personally am very, very excited to see coming now in 2025. So let's start off with something really cool. In my number 5 spot, I thought that we could go back to the old country. Mafia, the old country, that is. And I think this game is living up to the Mafia name. And I think that, after you play these Mafia games, one after the other, you realize that all of them cover the Mafia, in the, let's say, city world, in the worlds that are more, familiar to us, New York. And we also get places like New Orleans as well. I mean, just a lot of places that we are already familiar with. Places that we can stop and think about and say, like, okay, fine. Those are places that I can familiarize myself with. But in this instance, we're actually going back to Italy. Like, we're seeing Mafia in its original world, per se. We're seeing it where it all kind of began. And I think that is a genius concept. I mean, I think we've all been curious about seeing how these Mafia stories played out prior to, Vito Corleone, prior to all of these, other places that we are familiar with, I think this is going to be a great game. And just by using as a benchmark what they did with Mafia, the Definitive Edition, this is going to be good. This is going to be really good. Like, top-notch level gaming. I played through the Definitive Edition of Mafia. I had never played the first Mafia, so Definitive Edition was the best way to play it because everything is upgraded. Everything has been elevated to next-gen level. And if you want to experience the best version of Mafia, more than likely it's for you to play the Definitive Edition. So highly recommend you go and play that version. And it's just really good. I'm really excited to see this game. Definitely, I'm going to keep my eyes out for when it comes out now in 2025. Now, in my number 4 spot, I'm not going to say that it's all action all the time, that I'm like really pumped and excited for. Sometimes you just want to sit back and just experience a game. Like, a lot of games nowadays are just experiencing the game. And one that really got me piquing my interest personally is Dispatch. Dispatch kind of gives me like an animated version of, say, The Boys. Like, that's what it's giving off as. It's like an animated version of The Boys. Because you have all these superheroes and where this guy works is like this dispatch area where they dispatch superheroes to specific areas. So I really love that sort of dynamic that they have going for this game. And something that really surprised me is that they have Aaron Paul popping in to do a voice in this game as well. And even more surprisingly so, for me, it was seeing that Alana Pierce is gonna be in this game. And, as you've all have known, she's very popular in the gaming community. So I think being able to see her in another game other than Cyberpunk, because if you don't already know, Alana Pierce does show up in Cyberpunk, but other than Cyberpunk, it's really cool to see her, expanding with her voice acting, and I can't wait to see her character on this game. And it just looks like a lot of fun. It's almost like an experiential game that you can just it's a click to watch kind of, interactive TV show-ish or interactive movie-ish style game, which I think is really cool, And it kind of reminds me a little bit of the stuff that you see from Telltale Games, which did their, Walking Dead series, and they did, Tales from Borderlands series, and they did a Batman series as well. So I'm really excited to see what they come up with and what they put out in this game in the form of Dispatch. Now in number 3, which I think, even though it's in my number 3 spot, I have to say that most people would say that this is the biggest announcement of the night, but I have something else in number 1, so just hold your horses. But this has to be a really big announcement, and that is The Witcher 4. And the fact that now you get to play as Ciri. Now, I know I'm gonna get people talking about in the comments of oh, she doesn't look good, or she doesn't look like that, or she doesn't fit the bill to be the main character. Listen, I'm not here for your negativity. I'm sorry. I mean, if you're gonna be negative about a character, go somewhere else. I'm pretty sure there are channels out there that are gonna accept your negativity, but not here. Don't give me the negativity that this is going to be a bad game because the character doesn't look like the way you want it to. Trust me, all of this that I'm saying is foreshadowing for later, so keep that in mind. But let's be honest, she looks amazing. She looks absolutely amazing in this trailer. As a matter of fact, funny enough, I think that she kind of looks like Alana Pierce when she wears her hair in white. You know what I mean? If you put the two of them side by side, it's essentially what I'm talking about here. I think she looks great. I think Ciri looks absolutely amazing. She's going to serve as a really great, principal character. Your primary playing character in this game. I don't know if you get to play as Geralt. Don't know. But I think that this is a great idea. This is a great idea to be able to put her in that position, because you get to see her at a young age in, The Witcher 3. Now you get to see her a little bit older, a little bit wiser, maybe even a little bit faster, cunning, and honestly taking on the Witcher mantle. So it's going to be really cool to see her as the key character in The Witcher 4. And I really hope that the graphics live up to what we are seeing in this trailer, because I remember when I booted up The Witcher 3 on my PS4 for the first time, I was like, this is insane. The quality of this game is absolutely amazing. So I can't wait to see how they pull it off. How CD Projekt Red actually pulls this off in the long run when it comes to The Witcher 4. Now in number 2, it is no surprise that this would be at number 2, because I have already talked about this on this channel. I've already discussed this. But it is the truth. I absolutely love Borderlands. So Borderlands 4 is the natural fit for this list. at number 2. I love this game. I think Borderlands is super energetic, it's fast, just the variety of guns that you get to play with. Recently I got to play Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, which if you haven't had the opportunity to go and play Tiny Tina's Borderlands, do it. Do it. You are gonna love it. Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, I should say. I keep saying Borderlands. Tiny Tina's Wonderlands is so much fun. So much fun. It's a bit more PG than Borderlands, but go out and play it. But when it comes to Borderlands 4, I'm very excited. A lot of people were complaining about the character design not being super appealing. Like, it's almost as like they all kind of look the same, but hold your horses. I feel like each individual one is going to bring something cool to the table, and that's what I'm most excited about when I see this trailer. And I feel like the story is going to be really great. Randy Pitchford put out that this is going to be the most ambitious Borderlands game ever. I mean, the only thing that could make this game more ambitious is if they add weapon modding. Like, what if I could grab a pistol and use a part from, like, let's say, a sniper rifle on that pistol? Like, that would be super cool, to just be able to go to a place and be like, okay, you have a gazillion guns, but you can use parts from your other guns on your main gun. Like, if that's a feature in Borderlands 4, respect, because that would be super freaking cool. That would be so freaking cool to see that play out, because we've seen them try to do this in other games. I mean, if you've played the prequel, you know the grinding machine that they have on the moon, where you can just put 3 guns, it pops into the machine and it pops out a different gun. But in that case, it's just using whatever gun you provided to actually just create something completely different. So I feel personally that weapon modding would be super different in terms of the direction that Borderlands would go. So yes, that is definitely somewhere along the lines of a top 5 most interesting features for a Borderlands game. But nonetheless, I don't know if that's going to be in Borderlands 4, but that's a cool idea. So I find the story appealing. I see that they're using less cell shading, which is surprising to me because I wish that they would use cell shading just like they use in the other games, but I feel like they are using less of that cell shading in this game. Because I feel like they want to really showcase that they're using Unreal Engine and it's a completely different look and feel, and I like it. It looks beautiful. I can't wait to see the new planets that you get to traverse. I can't wait to see the new enemies they have to encounter. Coming off of Borderlands 3, with all the things that we see in Borderlands 3 happening, I have to say, I love the fact that there were more cutscenes in Borderlands 3. I love the gameplay. I love how fast it is. I love the overall dynamics of how things play out in the game itself. Being able to switch the type of projectile that you use. I mean, all these little details are super cool in Borderlands 3. I feel like a lot of people said there's too many boss fights and there's not a lot of special loot, and I get it. That's kind of true. It's not like mind-blowing, gameplay or whatever, but it is fun. It is fun, energetic, and it feels like a Borderlands game, and if that's what they're going to bring into Borderlands 4, I'm all in. And before I head over into my number 1 spot, I feel like I have 2 honorable mentions that I would like to add to the list of games that are really interesting to me that I saw coming from the Game Awards. One of them is going to feel like a surprise, but I have to say Split Fiction is one of those games that I'm really interested in seeing what it's about. It's a multiplayer game, meaning you play with another player. I feel like there's couch co-op involved if you want to. If you own the game, you can have a friend join you and play without having any sort of strings attached, which is super freaking cool. I mean, there's few studios doing that nowadays, and I really hope that more studios learn from those, features. So I really hope that that works. And I just love the idea of the story. I love that. Is that, you have two writers that write for video games and for these virtual worlds, and then they fall into these worlds, and they start to, you start to see like an evolution of each world that they're in. So they show gameplay of like, a dragon when it's born, and when it's little, it does a few things, and then it starts getting bigger, and then it starts doing a little bit more things, and then by the end of the level, you're already flying on the back of this, giant, dragon, and it's super cool and energetic. And then you go over to a different world, which is sci-fi, and then it's like a completely different dynamic, and it's got a feeling of a bit of a Metroid feel to it, which is really interesting, with the whole balls and that sort of thing. That's really cool. I can't wait to see that as well. So I mean, I'm really interested in seeing this, and it's from the same guys who created It Takes Two, the same team that did It Takes Two, which I haven't played as well, but I heard that is a fantastic game. So let's see what they do. I'm really excited to see this game and see where it leads. And the other honorable mention that I have to also add is The Outer Worlds 2. Now, if you have already played The Outer Worlds 1, you already know what it's possibly going to be like. And if you know Obsidian, they're the guys who created, Fallout New Vegas, which was really cool. I think most people say that Fallout New Vegas is the best Fallout game, even after the recent Fallout 4, which I think is fantastic, by the way. I kind of edge over to the side where it's, that in specific. But I really hope that they actually continue that path. They continue that sort of adventurous, going to different planets, making the world a little bit bigger. And if they do that, it's going to be a great game. It's going to be a fantastic game for multiple people to play, and it's going to be fun. It's just going to be fun and comedic and wacky. And it's supposed to be, it's supposed to be this sort of wacky game that you have, loot, and you have stuff that you can search and go on these different side quests that are super fun. So I really hope that The Outer Worlds 2 lives up to that sort of adventure with loot and discovery at its forefront. And now I think it's time for us to talk about my number one pick. Probably the biggest announcement of the night, for me personally, and I think for a lot of other people too. I think a lot of other people also consider this the biggest announcement of the night, other than The Witcher, of course. But this is the biggest announcement for me. And it is none other than Intergalactic, the Heteric Prophet, which I think really blew my mind. Let's start off there. I mean, the trailer already starts off with, this for a spaceship, and it shows a moment in space and a broken planet, or a moon, I think. And then you see the spaceship, and you see this person on the spaceship, cutting their hair really, really close and everything. And then you see that it's none other than Tati Gabriel in this game. And you see that, she's, shaving off her hair. She's kind of got this sort of military thing going on with her, kind of like a tomboy kind of style character. And then right afterwards, you see her having this communication with, someone else. And then we find out that she's a bounty hunter. And then we see like these pictures on the wall, and we see Kumail Nanjiani is going to be in this game. And that when you start getting heavy hitters in the game, you see that there's something spectacular going on here that you have to kind of investigate a little bit further. And then you see her put on a jacket, and then you see her getting into the cockpit, and you understand a little bit more about how this bounty hunter business works. And then is when things start to get really surprising, because then you start to see that there are real world brains in this game, which is my first time, I would say, really seeing that there are multiple real-world brands in one place inside of the video game, which exists in a fictional world. And you see the Adidas on her feet. You see that she is in a spaceship that is actually a Porsche or Porsche, however you would like to say it. And then she drops in Pet Shop Boys. And then, that right there is when the game sold. Now, at that point is when I was like, okay, this game has sold me already. I already know that I want to play this game. That's the obvious part. But who is making this game? Who is the mastermind behind this game? And that's when my heart went from being kind of happy to like absolutely elated when I saw that it was being made by Naughty Dog. And for those of you who don't know, I absolutely love Naughty Dog. I love them. They make literally my favorite series when it comes to games, and that's the Uncharted series. Uncharted for me is like the pinnacle of adventure games when it comes to consoles and storytelling and cinematics and overall story. It is absolutely amazing. And then recently I got to play The Last of Us, the part 1 sort of remaster on PS5, which looks amazing. And I had never finished that game, and then I finished it and I was like, oh my god, that was a really good finish. I really enjoyed the last 4 hours of that game, so that's a positive in and of itself. And then I just absolutely am super excited to see what they do with this game. Intergalactic is going to be amazing. It's going to be just absolutely amazing. It's man, I don't have words to describe it. There's just no words to describe it. Now, if there's one thing that I want to touch upon real quick that I know a lot of people are going to be talking about, and it falls into the same sort of category that people were complaining about earlier with Siri, is that the main character does not look like your typical character that is, as most people would want to say, oh, she's not attractive. She's not a very attractive character. And for that, I raise you a different coin. Does the character have to really be attractive for you to like a game? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, if you're ever playing a Call of Duty game, do you really care whether or not the main character looks good? If you're playing Counter-Strike, do you care what the character looks like that you're playing as? If you're playing, say, I don't know, man, like any game per se that takes place in a fantasy world, in a virtual fantasy world, like, does it really have to be an attractive character? I mean, it doesn't really add up. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just doesn't add up to me. So, I don't know. I mean, you guys gotta explain to me what that is all about, because it makes no sense to me whatsoever that the appearance of a character would drive someone to not play this game. I really don't care. I really don't care about that. I care about the story. I care about how well the story is going to play out. And if we know anything about Naughty Dog, this is going to be a great game. Like, that has not even, there's not even a second in my mind that says this is going to suck. No. This game is going to be really freaking good, and I can't wait to play it. This could very well be the very first game for me to buy on next-gen consoles, on PS5, that I'm willing to pay, say, the $60 or $70 for the game. I would think about it first. It's the only one that makes me think twice about whether or not I want to pay the $60 or $70 to play the game, because otherwise, man, this game is just, this is going to be amazing, and I'm really excited to see it play out on PlayStation and be a PlayStation exclusive, and at the same time be created by Naughty Dog. I'm just, like I said before, I'm absolutely elated. But like all my videos, all of these categories, all of these numbers, all of these, lists and stuff, all of this is my opinion. And that's where I throw it away to you. To you, as I should say. Do you think that this is going to be a good game? Do you think that this is going to be a bad game? Do you think that this game has any existence in, modern pop culture? And I'm talking about specifically Intergalactic there for that specific part, because I want to know what you think of all the games that I talked about, or even other games that were announced at the Game Awards. Do you like them? Did you like some? Did you not like some? Did you like the announcements of the games that I mentioned? Did you not like the announcements? I want to hear from you down in the comments below. And while you're down there, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell to be notified when new videos go live on this channel. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next video.
Scrolling through YouTube, same old routine, then bam, movie savant, what a scene. Trivia bombshells dropping knowledge like rain. Forget the dishes, gotta watch it again. Movie buffs unite, savants to place. Subscribe and hit the bell, don't leave a trace. Next level knowledge keeps you in the loop. Savants got the scoop, ain't nothing to recoup.